Hi, my name's Daryl, and in this video we're going to talk about how to purchase the JSCAN software and the hardware that you need and how to install it. So let's get started. So the first thing I do is install the JSCAN software onto my iPhone. So I would basically just go to the App Store, do a search for OBD JSCAN, and then download it. If you've got an Android device, I would assume that there's some sort of Android store that you would go to and install that. Now, one really nice thing about JSCAN compared to the competitors is it lets you download and use the software basically for free. There's a demo mode so you can play around with it without actually even attaching it to your Jeep, which is really cool. When you have the actual hardware, you can still continue to use the software basically fully featured. It just won't let you make any changes to it until you've actually installed the license for the software. Okay, so we have the JSCAN software installed. We've decided we like it, we want to use it, so we need to connect the JSCAN software to our Jeep, but in order to do that, we have to get a dongle. So this is the one I have. It's the V-Linker MC Plus. They do have multiple devices, not just this V-Linker, but the V-Linker is really inexpensive. I think it was like 30 bucks. So it works fine. And then you also have to get this security gateway cable, and we'll be installing this. I think this was like 17 bucks. You can also find a link to that onto this video's description, the Amazon link to it. So let's go ahead and get these items installed. All right, the first part of the install is we have to get access to the security gateway cables and unplug them. And they're really close to the OBD2 port, which is right here. I found that it's just easier to get access to that port by removing this trim piece right here. So if you have a trim panel removal tool, or a spoon will just work, you can use that to remove that panel, and that'll make getting access to those cables a lot easier. So let's do that first. So I'm going to get in here and just use this tool, use the spoon to remove this trim panel piece. And then you basically just do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and once that's removed, then we'll have a little better access for getting to those cables. Okay, I'm going to get here in my iPhone, and it's really hard to get a good image of this, but basically you want to go to the back side of the connector and push down on a clip. My finger, and what I'm going to do is push on it and then just kind of swivel it back and forth just a little bit as I'm pulling. And then that's going to hopefully let me get it out of there. And got it. Okay. And then basically do the same thing for the next connector. So you can feel that back piece with the tab on it, and then just kind of swivel back and forth after you've got it. And there it goes. So just to give you a little focus on this connector, this is the little thing that depresses right there. So you basically just push it in like so, and then you pull it out. All right, so now once those cables are disconnected, these are the security gateway cables, then what you do is you connect the security gateway cable that you purchased, and it kind of intercepts the signal, I guess you could say. And so then we're going to connect the big one into the big one here, and then it will just snap right into place. And then we put the small one into the small one. Okay, and that'll snap right into place. Okay. And then the last step really of our hardware install is to connect the OBD dongle to this. Now I did try to connect the OBD dongle to the actual OBD port, but I think because of the security gateway measures, it just wouldn't let me, it wouldn't work quite right. Nevertheless, just to get it to work, then we connect our OBD port to the OBD connection here, and you can see it'll start lighting up, which means it's getting power, and then we're pretty much good to go. At this point, you would probably want to install your trim panel back in place and then kind of tuck this up underneath. All right, so now that we have the hardware installed, we can now start the JSCAN software and connect it to your Jeep. To do that, we're going to hit the start button twice on your Jeep, and that will basically turn it into the run position. So the first one is accessories, and the second one, it puts it into the run position. And then from there, we can actually start the JSCAN software. Now, when the software starts up, it's going to ask you to select the type of car that you have. And I'm going to choose the Wrangler JL. And it's going to basically prepare the vehicle data. And then it's going to ask you, how do you want to connect? Now, we talked about demo mode a little bit, where you could just click demo, and it's kind of like a full functioning thing. It's not really connected, but we're going to auto connect it with Bluetooth. And so I'm going to click that. And I think that's kind of the standard for the kind of adapters that are currently available for the JSCAN. And when you hit that, it's then going to automatically connect to your vehicle. And then we're at the home screen, basically. Now, I actually have a license already on my iPhone that's connected to the VIN number on the Jeep. If I didn't have a VIN number or a license already installed, at this point it would actually bring up a screen asking me if I wanted to continue and use it, the free version without a license, or if I wanted to look at licensing information. At that point, I could actually purchase a license for the vehicle. Now, I think for a single license, it's $20.99, so really cheap. But you can still continue to use it. You just aren't able to actually make any changes. So you can see what it looks like, and you can see what the current values on your Jeep are, but you aren't able to make any changes. Now, just to give a little summary of this screen here at the home, we have the quick diagnostics, which will basically read any sort of codes. Now, I don't have any codes, at least I don't think I do, but let me click on the quick diagnostics, and it's going to reading trouble codes, and yeah, I don't have any trouble codes, so that's good. So I'm going to back out of that. I could click live data, so I could monitor one of the modules, and if I was having problems with a particular area on my Jeep, I could monitor for that. You can also click on Trail View, and this is kind of a separate app that lets you monitor a bunch of different parameters in your Jeep, and it's especially helpful when you're off-roading. It lets you do some unique things that you natively can't do in the Jeep. For instance, you can disconnect the sway bars in 4 low, which is pretty helpful. Now, I'm going to have a separate video specifically on Trail View, so you can be expecting that very soon. And you can also monitor your tire pressures. So that's how to purchase and install JSCAN. Now, a lot of folks get JSCAN specifically because they've upgraded the tires in their Jeep, and they need to change the diameter size so that their speedometer and their gas mileage is correct. Now, if that's you, you're really going to want to watch this video right down below, which will show you how to do that.